Hello and welcome to the Wheel of Crime podcast, the podcast that's run by two ladies who play games, shout profanities, and laugh way too often. Also, this podcast does cover topics of sensitive nature, and as such, listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome back to another super spooky episode of the Wheel of Crime podcast. My name is Jenn.
My name is Emily, and yes, welcome back. We are officially in the swing of things in this here October season, which is pretty baller.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
Spookiest time of the year and our personal favorite. Wah, wah.
You know things are good when the leaves are turning, the air is crisp, Spooky Lake Month is back on TikTok.
Hell yeah. I know, I opened the window this morning and I was like, ooh, it's got that little fresh fall smell and everything. It's good stuff.
So good.
And with where I live, there was a fog on the lake this morning and I was like, ah, finally.
Oh my god, I love that for you.
But you were saying?
I just love this time of year. It's literally my favorite. I don't know. I feel like this year is going by so fast, and I'm like, no, it needs to last a little bit longer just for the fall.
I feel like the little cartoon that's like holding the like hands of the clock backwards and being like, wait, because I swear on my life, it was just March. Like, I'm not even kidding.
I know. I'm like, how is May already over? Like, I feel like I'm mentally still in May.
I think I'm mentally still like 5 years ago. Maybe not like actually 5 years ago because that was the pandemic, but like, you know what I mean.
You know what? If you were like, yeah, it's 2019, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Right? I'm like, yeah, that feels like it checks out. That feels pretty good. And now I'm like, my birthday, I think when this episode comes out will have already happened, but while we're recording, it hasn't happened yet. And I keep in my brain being like, oh yeah, 28. And I'm like, no. It's 29.
I know.
It's 29. Honestly,
like, I know a lot of people say this, but I do genuinely feel like I lost years to the pandemic. And it is kind of hard to process sometimes. Like, every birthday, I'm like, how the fuck? Like, what happened to, like, 24, 25, 26? Like, I don't remember those years.
I feel like if I had to go just based off of how I feel as far as like age, life, how I've accepted things, like where I'm at, I could confidently say like 27. I feel like like I feel like I got into like the feeling of 27, but then it's like when I actually look at the math, I'm like, okay, that's fine, I guess.
Cool, 29. That feels horrific to say.
It feels so old, dude. It feels so old. I'm like, oh
I cannot believe. Oh, that has nothing. I know, that's the spookiest thing of all, guys.
Of this holiday season, 100%. See, and then people keep being like, oh yeah, just wait until you're 30. And I'm like, we're not there yet.
I'm mentally,
that to yourself, we're not there yet.
Mentally, I'm not there yet. And you know what? I think I've come to terms with it a little bit more because everyone's like, oh, your 30s are better because you're like more established, your brain's fully functioning, hopefully, etc., etc. But like, I'm like, I don't know. It's a scary number. I don't like it.
But also going off of how we feel, I will say while I most of the time at my youngest feel 27, on my days that I do feel like an old, responsible person.
Like 75.
Well, like, yeah, for me, realistically, 75. But, like, a good day, it would be, like, maybe 32. Like, if I'm feeling slightly older than I am today, I feel like a good 32. But then it's, like, but 29 specifically just feels so old.
It does. I mean, it's, like, that's as late 20s as you can get, girl.
I know.
I hate it so
much. I know. So then, what have you been up to then this last week?
I've been going on a deep dive about the story I'm about to tell you today. Literally, I spent, I think, most of my week, like, watching documentaries and YouTube videos and, like, podcasts and, like, reading articles about the story, like, trying to, like, narrow down my notes because, like, sometimes I feel like I fall very deep into a hole with my stories, and then other times I'm like, yeah, it's chill. Like we're looking up like some different articles and stuff. Like I still feel like I do like a decent amount of research for most of my stories, but like then there's certain ones where I'm like, no, we're going all the way down the hole. We're looking back on this person's personal Facebook page from 2004. Like I'm getting the dirt. I'm looking at their MySpace.
That's bonkers.
I'm
Thankfully,
reading.
my stories, the most deep dive that I get, like if I'm really going in on any of my stories, usually takes me to like Reddit somewhere or like
Been reading a lot
strange
of Reddit.
blogs on like cooking pages, like stuff like that. Like that's the deepest dive that I'm ever gonna get with some of my stories, but that's still pretty strange. But I am looking forward to your story today just for that reason, because I am very curious on what the heck has captured your fascination.
Yeah, it was honestly, it was kind of a hard one because I, wow, this is like not relevant at all to your question, but I feel like I like to like have a backstory on a person so that you can kind of like understand like who they are, where they came from, like their like early life, but like this person literally has nothing, which is even more fascinating to me. I feel like it makes me dig even harder, and I'm like, why can't I find anything?
That is weird, especially like I'm not going to guess too much until we get into the question round. But the sense I get is that this is a recent enough story that there should be more, especially if it's this frustrating for you. So I'm very curious.
Yes. Anyways, how was your week?
My week
I
was
was going
good.
crazy over here.
No, I am just so because it's October, I'm like, okay, like there's only so much time I have to be in full spooky mode, right? So
Yeah.
I'm literally trying to take advantage of everything I can think of, like looking at like spooky video games, like trying to dip my toes a little bit more into I'm not like a big horror movie person, but like I did watch Scream last year, so I'm trying to like maybe I'll watch the next Scream. I don't know, but we'll see what happens.
Dude, you should watch Scream 2 because it's honestly more of a detective movie than it is like a horror movie.
Okay, okay. Because, yeah, I'm like trying to do some of these things, but what's recently got my focus is I really wanted to read a book that was like a paranormal romance. So, like vampires,
Ooh.
werewolves, blah, blah, blah. Um, and I just went on a journey. I'm not going to get too into it. But this was a book that was recommended to me probably through TikTok, if I'm going to take a good guess. I don't think it was
Yeah.
anytime recent, like probably a year or two ago, but it's in my TBR for like ever. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'll finally get into it. It's got like 15,000, like almost 5-star reviews on Goodreads. Nothing but positivity and nothing about good things about this book. It fully was I got 10% in and I had to DNF the book. It was so bad. I think that's like chapter 5. But like
Oh
it
my god.
literally is this girl and her name is Sunday and she's like my name is Sunday. And just before I get too far, all of the main character and all of the main characters have last names that are named after TV show talk show hosts in the real world. Like Jimmy
Oh,
Fallon, that's a last name of a character.
I really hate that. I
Stuff like
fucking
that.
hate that so much.
It is I can't do it. But there's so many things. So basically Sunday's like I'm the only female wolf shifter of my pack, and my grandfather hates me because I haven't found my wolf, and he sent me to the academy. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Here we go. So then she like shows up at this school. Everybody's rich, by the way. I don't understand like what half this beef is. Everybody has money. So then her roommate is like a witch who like was like trying to do a power move on her or something by leaving all of her fucking, I don't know, designer dresses on the bed. So then this like wolf girl Sunday like pours nail polish on the dress and the witch girl's like, huh, I didn't realize you were kind of a badass. I think I like you. And I'm like,
Huh?
what the fuck? And then like so and anyways, so that's like the roommate situation, which apparently is like the shortest enemies to best friend thing of all time. I got 5 chapters into this book. That was chapter 1. Chapter 2 was, hey, I think you're pretty cool because you dumped your wolf mate when you were 16, and anybody who does that is a best friend in my book. And it's like,
Babe.
what is happening?
Like, what?
What? And then, so she meets the headmistress or something of this academy who's like is working with her grandfather to help this stupid bitch find her wolf or whatever is happening here. So then, literally in this chapter, Jen, they have not one, two references to Harry Potter.
Oh
She looks at this headmistress and she goes, "Huh, you're no Dumbledore."
I'm gonna kill myself.
No, literally. And then there's like a point where she like turns around, and of course the stupid black limousine that she showed up to the stupid school in with all of her luggage, like her designer stuff, is gone, and she's like, "Where's my luggage?" And the headmistress or whatever, she's like, "Your luggage has been sent up to your room." And then it's almost like literally like an office, like the way this scene was set up is like a scene out of The Office where they like look at the camera, and she's like, "Wow, just like magic." And I'm like, "Bitch, you're a werewolf. Like, what are we talking about?" And like, and also like, and this is no fault to the author because I don't know if this person has English as a first language, but the grammar errors, bonkers. They were describing this headmistress lady, and it's just like, and she looked at me with her long blonde, and then the sentence just kept going, and I'm like, long blonde
Long blonde what?
Long blonde eyebrows? Long blonde pubes? Long blonde what? Because at that point, that
blonde toenails?
Literally, I'm like, at this point, that would not have even been the craziest thing that had been said. But then they start introducing the male main characters. I'm going to be so real with you. I don't think I met all of them. I think I met 3. There might only be 3. I don't know. I did not stick around long enough to find out. One of them, you don't know his name. He's just like, apparently his dad owns the university and he's hunting her in the woods when she goes jogging. And he's a vampire. And it's like, okay. And then there's, like, another guy who is the most interesting one, in my opinion, who is, like, an Irish priest who was turned into a vampire. But then I'm like, okay, so we have 2 vampires. I'm sensing not a lot of creativity happening. So is he an
adult?
Oh, yeah. All these people are, like, well, I guess your definition of adult. They're all between 19 to 26, I think, 25.
Okay.
Right? So then this like priest man shows up who's also a vampire, and he just is straight up abusive to the MC. He's like making her kneel on concrete until she bleeds, and then he's like, "I'm a vampire and I can't handle blood. I'm gonna suck your knees." And like, it being so serious. And I'm like, somebody needs to release me from this hellhole. Oh my god. And then I'm not gonna get too far into it, but the last MC is like her ex-boyfriend that she broke up with when she was 16, who's also a wolf shifter, who's supposed to be like her mate that her grandfather set her up with, who's like from like the other really wealthy wolf shifter family or whatever the fuck. So then he like shows up and he's like choking her out in the library, and he's like, "Why'd you break up with me when we were 16? And she's like, "'Cause I didn't like you."
God.
And I was like, "Girl, first valid thing you've said so far. Gotta say
honestly, okay.
Right? I was like, you know what? The math
I'm on your side for
mathing.
this one and this one only.
I'm like, okay, the man is choking you up because you broke up with him when you're 16. To me, it feels valid that you're at that you broke up with him. This feels like a logical conclusion.
You saw the red flags and you listened, and I commend her for that.
Exactly. So, that was what I tried to read. I don't know what happens to the rest of it, because as unhinged as it was not cohesive enough for me to have had a good time. So that was the end for me. So what I did instead was I picked up a different book called A Soul to Keep that is also very highly rated, but I know people in real life who've read this book as well and really like it. It is a eldritch horror romance book where the main character is basically sacrificed to like a demonic entity of the woods that's meant to like protect her village. And it ends up, like, turning into, like, a romance. But he is, like, definitely more monster than man. Like, it does POVs from his perspective.
Right.
And it's really neat. I also got about 10% into this one. And I was like, this was a good choice. Monster fucker fall it is. That's what's happening here, folks.
Love that for you. Honestly.
Yes, so that's how my week's been.
Spooky season.
Love
it's
it.
Best.
Right?
I know.
But we should probably get into questions. Yes?
We should. Yes. We've been yapping for a while.
Hell yeah.
All right. Did you ever do any volunteer work as a teenager?
Yes. I did a lot of volunteer work, actually.
Where?
Through the childhood military program I was a part of, they made us do a lot of volunteer stuff.
Dude,
And
that's a
then-
crazy sentence. The childhood military program.
I don't want to pinpoint myself too much.
Emily was a child soldier, okay, guys?
Basically, but yeah, so through that, I had to do a lot of volunteer stuff, which upon reflection, I remember at the time everybody being like, oh, you need all these volunteer things as a teenager, otherwise you're not going to be able to get a job. As an adult human being now who's like actively in the work industry, it is so seldom that you see anybody with volunteer hours towards anything. It looks good, yes. I do not know if I would consider it a necessity. I could be wrong, but
I think maybe it's more of a necessity as a teenager when you have less work experience. Like, I think it helps you, can help you get those, like, first jobs because it shows that you can, like, you know, be a functioning member of society, be responsible for something.
And then you and I have volunteered before as teenagers.
Yes, we did graffiti cleanup together.
We did. We did the Festival of Trees.
Yes, we did. We did a little festival in our hometown where we ran Santa's workshop.
We did do that.
Or no, it wasn't.
Elves.
Yeah, it was his like phone line or something. So we had to answer the phone and pretend to be elves at Santa's workshop, and children would call and give us their wish list, and we would like write it down or something. That was honestly so fun.
It was very cute. Like, looking back on that now, I'm like, oh wait, that's kind of really sweet.
Yeah, I honestly loved volunteering as a kid. I found it really fun. Like, I volunteered for like our local like pet rescue organization for a long time, where you got to like cuddle with and like take the dogs on walks, and that really filled my soul, honestly. I did other stuff too, but I feel like that's the one that stands out to me because I really liked that.
I served a tea to veterans. I'm trying to think about other ones.
I feel like, what else did I do?
Lots of things.
Yeah.
Lots of things.
I don't remember anymore.
We were busy once, many years ago.
I know. I'm like, I haven't volunteered in a while.
Right?
That's bad, but I haven't. Whoops.
Oopsies. That'll be for my future, when I'm retired. Maybe I'll volunteer more when I'm retired.
I feel like it's hard when you're working full time because it's like, I personally, I mean, I could right now because I'm off work for a little bit, but when I am working, I'm like, I barely have time to like sleep and eat. Like, when am I supposed to go?
Well, that's what I mean. I'm like, as much as I want to like go to the shelter, for example, and like, you know, socialize animals, it's literally like you just said, I can barely volunteer myself to eat a cheeseburger. I can barely volunteer myself to go to bed at a decent time, and I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, well, one day.
Right? Should we spin for our next question?
Spin away. Do you like haunted houses?
No. Next question. No,
why?
I'm kidding. I don't, because, well, here's the thing. Actual haunted houses, I don't mind. Fake haunted houses, I hate them. I can't do jump scares, which I feel like we've talked about on the podcast before. There's always jump scares associated with, like, fake haunted houses.
What's a fake haunted house?
Like when people put on, like, a show and they're like, come to our haunted house.
Oh, you mean like a real haunted house is in like a house that's like someone's died?
That has a ghost in it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Those are fine.
I got you. I was like, what? Sorry, what are we talking about?
Yeah, no, because I feel like we've talked about this on the show before, but just maybe not in a hot minute. When it comes to fight or flight or freeze,
she's gonna punch you.
I fight. And it's very funny if you know me in person, because I'm very like, what, 5'2"? But like, I don't know what it is. Like, if I genuinely get scared or somebody does a jump scare, it's just like a flood of rage fills my body, which is hilarious also because I'm not an angry person. Like, I know a lot of people who are angry people say that. But Jen's known me for a long time. I just am not somebody who just gets easily razzed up that way. So for somebody to scare me and me just to go into like I'm gonna get you and punch your lights out rage is crazy. But it does happen. So I avoid haunted houses for both my health and the health of the people who are going there.
You know, it's kind of funny because I feel like out of the two of us, do get razzed up way more easily than you. But in those situations, I'm definitely more of like a flight person. I'm like, I'm out of there. I'm gone. I've run away.
It's true. Jen's more likely to be the person who, like, because this is a real life example, chase down the person who ran into your car, screaming at them to get their insurance information, while I just sit there politely. Versus if we were in a scary situation, she would be like running away, and I'd be like, "Let's go!"
Like, I'm sorry, if a ghost is coming after me, I'm running. I'm gone. You're never gonna see me again.
And I'm punching him out. And see, this is where we meet in the middle on these things.
Exactly. You know, I take care of the like things that Emily would just like be like, it's fine. I'm like, no. I'm pissed. I'm pissed for both of us.
You take care of the things that have real life consequences. I take care of the things that have fictional consequences.
Exactly.
It's perfect. It works out.
Yeah, it's balanced, you know?
Right?
All right.
Well, I'm going to take a guess, and I think that you probably like them, but I don't honestly remember off the top of my head if you like haunted houses. I know that you feel differently about actual haunted houses. I don't think you would go into a house if somebody was like, yeah, old man Horace died in here, and now his spirit's throwing dishes at people. I don't necessarily think you would go in there, but I could be wrong.
I like the idea of a real haunted attraction, like, you know, like ghost and like paranormal stuff. I would probably go with a group of people as long as I didn't have to stay there alone at night, you know?
That's fair.
Whereas like boo haunts, like where people like pop out or whatever, I like that. I feel like it's part of the vibe of Halloween. It's like a little scary, but like not too much.
Yeah, see, this is where we differ again.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We can meet in the middle and shake hands on this.
Yeah, I mean, I love a good horror movie, so.
This is true. All right, should we spin for our next question?
Yes, spin away. Would you ever want to live through a survive your own horror film experience?
No. No. My life is horrifying enough. No. I do not want to do that. I see all the time people are like signing up for that. I think I know like what you're talking about with this specific question. I feel like there's an attraction that people sign up for where it's like, come to our haunted house, but you have to sign a waiver form where I shave your head and take out your teeth. Like, no.
Yeah, it's
no.
Okay, see, like, I feel like I'm intrigued by the idea of an experience like that. I'm intrigued. I'm not gonna lie, I'm intrigued. For me, the line is, like, the real bodily harm, like, pulling teeth, or, like, shaving my head, or, like...
Or waterboarding you, or...
Yeah, like, the physical, like... I don't know, like... I don't want to come out there, like, physically harmed.
And get beat up for
or like
Yeah.
I'm okay with like a little bit of trauma, but like not traumatically, like psychologically damaged either, preferably.
You're like, just I want it to be internally traumatized, not externally traumatized.
Yeah. Like, I'm okay with a little bit of trauma, but like not too much.
I am more than happy to just be a fly on the wall or like a pair of binoculars in the distance to stuff like this. Absolutely no. Do I want to be anywhere within 10 feet of stuff like this? Or 100 feet, actually. And even less than that, do I want to be involved in anything like this?
Yeah, that's fair. I kind of figured that for you.
I actually did not figure that for you too. I thought you'd be a little bit more on the stay away side. I am curious by your curiosity.
It just seems intriguing. Like, I love horror films, and I'm like, yeah, it would be cool to like when when people explain it, they're like, oh, it's like a personalized like haunted house experience where like, they're kind of like working with your phobias and like different things, and like they're taking you through a show of like, it's kind of like this immersive horror film experience, which sounds kind of intriguing. Like, I imagine like you could do something really cool in like a VR situation like that,
That could be cool. Especially because I think Jen had her experience with like VR horror type stuff the other day. I had her try out my Walt the Wizard game where if anybody else has tried it, there's a crystal ball that gives you different scenes. So you can like stand on a bridge and like look over the edge. But Jen got plunked into one where she had to arm herself with a sword and a shield and defend herself against I think it was a wolf or a
It's a
cat or
cat.
something. Yeah, but it's just growling at you and you're in a dark room and you can't see anything. I was so scared when I had that experience, and now Jen's got to have it too. So,
Yeah,
did
or
you?
like, yeah, so like something like that, or like an escape room where it's like kind of like horror themed, and you're like, it's like, because we went
Mhm.
to this one a few years ago that it was like, you get, like, your group gets split up and you're in these two rooms that kind of interact with each other, and it's like horror themed, and you have to like escape before like this murderer comes to get you, and you're in these like cells and
Ooh.
stuff like that, where I'm like, okay, that's like the level that I'm intrigued. I don't want to be like, someone pulling out my teeth. Like, that's not the vibe of what I'm going for. But, like, I am intrigued by, like, a horror experience,
Okay. I could see doing like a horror haunted escape room. That could be neat if there's no like jump scares involved or anything like that, but it's just like you're in a like horror house and you gotta like,
I'm
do
okay with
your
jump
thing and
scares,
try to
but
escape. That could be cool. I could see that. But I'm
yeah.
a hard sell on most things related to horror. So, I mean, my
Yeah.
answers make sense to me.
All right. Well, let's spin for our last question. Do you have any seminal experiences with trick-or-treating?
I have not had anything like too crazy as far as like crime I can think of because I feel like that's one of the ones that
No
people think of.
murders?
No murder. Well, or even like, do you remember the one year? Yeah, I think you and I would have probably been like, I don't know, 12, but everybody was worried about there being needles in the chalk in like the
Mm,
Snickers or something. Do you remember that? So
yeah.
I've never
I
had an
think that was like an
experience.
urban legend that like really just like caught
Right?
traction.
Right. So no experiences like that, but I do remember there was this one house in the new neighborhood that my family moved to after we were no longer neighbors for a time. And there was one house that always would do up their front garage as like a haunted house kind of thing. So
Sick.
in order to get candy, they would serve it from like their garage door, like the one that connects to the inside of their house. So you had to actually enter in through their garage and go through like a little like horror maze that they made in their garage to get to the door.
That's gonna be me as soon as I have a
I
house.
know. I know. And like it was always so fun. And then especially because of course the couple who ran this they were like older, I think they were like grandparents or something, but they just loved doing this so much and they always had like the full-size chocolate bars and like full-size sodas for anybody who was like brave enough to go through the maze and stuff. So that was always really fun too.
I'm kind of sad that trick or treating is like not as much of a thing anymore. Like, I don't
Mhm.
know. There's something so like wholesome about it, like going up door to door. And I get that like I'm sure safety is a concern, but I'm like, really
Mhm.
sad.
I know. I've talked to some relatives of mine who do have younger children who are of the age of trick or treating. It seems to be more of a thing where people who want to trick or treat go to basically like
The
car
mall.
meets. Yeah, or like the mall or I don't know.
I've
Just like
heard that
random
there's
things
like
like this.
the parking lot things where like everyone or trunk or treat or something
Yes, that's a
where
big one.
they like all have their trunks open and then the kids can go like in like a loop, and I'm like, that's so lame.
Right? And it was always weird for me too because I remember when Andrew and I moved to our first place, it was like an apartment type building. And our first year there, I was so anxious. I was like, oh my God, what if we get trick or treaters? Because in my brain, I'm like, an apartment building would be such an easy place to go trick or treating because you would just
Mm-hmm.
like wander the halls going door to door. Like, that's easily like 10, 20 houses, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
So, but we had nobody. And then I was talking with a different friend of mine later on, and they were like, yeah, that's like a neighborhood specific thing. That's not like a thing. And I was like, what? Weird.
I know. I want to move to a neighborhood where there's trick-or-treating.
Right? I know. I feel like you guys will one day, and maybe that's why you haven't found it yet, is because all the other options were non trick or treating neighborhoods.
Maybe.
Right?
But yeah. All
Um,
right.
so
So what do you think?
we're always on the same page. I feel like your story today is basically something happens while some people are out trick-or-treating and they stumble upon an interactive haunted house, and they're like, ooh, this haunted house is so interactive, they've got real knives, and it turns out there is for real a murderer who's trying to murder them. And they did not know. Trying to murder them, and now they're dead. So it's a miracle we got this story, and that's why you know nothing.
Oh my gosh. No. Actually, that would be an amazing, like, Goosebumps episode, but no.
Yeah, it would have.
But
It would have, but I have no idea what your story is then.
you probably know this story, and I swear I've covered this like years and years ago. I wanted to do it again because there like is an update. So I like had put on my like list of stories to cover for spooky season the update on this case, but I could not find the episode at all. So I don't know if like I imagined myself recording it before, because like I couldn't find my notes on it either. So I don't know. I don't know if I've done it or not, just like Emily's last week. So I was inspired by you, bestie.
You're welcome. And I also will be, I think for my next story, doing another strange throwback where it feels very familiar and I cannot find the episode. So we'll see. Maybe these are a part of the lost archives.
They
Our
must
lost
be.
archives.
They must
quote
be.
unquote.
But today we're going to talk about a man named Russ Allen McKamey. Does the name ring a bell?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I feel like you know this one. So we'll get into it.
Okay.
So, like I said before, not a whole lot is known about his personal life. He's quite mysterious that way. I found from his Facebook that he claims his hometown is Fullerton, California. And during his high school and college years, he majored in the arts. He has a background in theater, having been an actor in plays and movies, as well as having been a singer and a wedding DJ. He served between 22 to 23 years, depending on who you talk to, in the Navy, where he produced haunts on board naval ships well out to sea. Russ is also the founder of an extreme haunt known as McKamey Manor.
Now that sounds more familiar. But I
Yeah.
don't know if it's because you told this story or if I've just like
I'm
seen.
sure you've heard of it. Like, it's big on TikTok, people talking about McKamey Manor, like,
Because is that the place where they are like pulling out people's fingernails and
yeah.
gouging them? Yeah, see, when you said that, I was like, now that feels familiar.
Yeah.
And probably for that reason.
Yeah, that's pretty
But
infamous.
I cannot remember anything else other than I fully do think this is from a video that I would have seen at some point. That there was some sort of legality issue of some kind. That's all I really remember, is that it's a fucked up haunted house and there was some sort of legal problem. Those are the only two things I remember.
All right, well, you're about to learn a whole lot about it.
Ooh, okay.
So, rumor has it that the haunt bug caught up with Russ as a small child after his dad would take him out trick-or-treating. This is where he saw his first makeshift cardboard maze on somebody's lawn. So, the manor was officially founded in 1989 in San Diego. However, back at the beginning, it was a much milder attraction. It started out as more of a haunted house, one where kids and families could attend as part of their Halloween festivities. So kind of more or less what you would expect when you think of like a haunted house that you go to at Halloween, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So as the years progressed, Russ kept trying to one-up himself, and the attraction, he wanted to make it scarier and scarier. In 2005, Russ and then-wife Carol Schultz spent $30,000 on a new iteration of the haunt and spent 6 months building it. And he said in an interview that the only reason 6 months was the cap is because they ran out of time. Otherwise, he would have taken more time to keep building. So he was really going all in on this thing. And by 2012, it became what some would classify as more of a torture chamber than a haunted house. Participants were being waterboarded, chained up in boxes, and almost buried alive after Russ decided to make McKamey Manor an extreme kid-free zone. So 15-year-old Mercedes Ann, who is a certified lifeguard with basic first aid training, who was there to help deal with the fallout of everything, said, quote, "I was seeing people come out shaking uncontrollably. One guy, it looked like his nose was broken. Another burst a blood vessel in his eye. It was full of blood. People would have psychotic breakdowns. That's the only time they would stop the tour. Then they would bring me in to calm them down. We didn't get paid anything." Mercedes said she began volunteering at the manor when she was 13 years old after meeting Russ at a community barbecue back when, quote, "Russ and Carol were like the cool aunt and uncle," which is literally so fucked up to have a child there to deal with you psychologically torturing adults. I can't even
wrap my head around it. And then also, yeah, 13 is still a child. That even to me feels like a stretch for a regular haunted house, let alone an extreme attraction. That is 110% the type of environment that comes with an age range of a certain age
18 plus.
Exactly. Cause whoa, I can't. That would fuck you up for life.
It literally would. So, most of the people who go through the haunt were Marines, law enforcement, extreme sports fanatics, and adrenaline junkies. Ryan Lawrence went through the McKamey Manor with his brother, but they had to call it quits, like most people do before finishing the tour. He said he was looking for an adrenaline rush and got a little more than he bargained for. He said, quote, "I wasn't looking for something that would make me beg for my life. I don't regret it at all, but it was an immediate. I remember when we got in the van, my brother put his hand on my shoulder and I could feel him saying, 'What have we done?' And it got real quick. Immediately, we were in over our heads. Everything is so intense, you really don't get to think. You kind of think that it's real. I remember thinking to myself, I don't even know these people. Maybe they are going to kill me. I mean, they're really going to hurt me. Of course, it wasn't going to happen, but you don't know that when you're here because it's so real and so intense and so in your face, you just totally forget it's something you signed up to go to for fun." Which is crazy because how it worked was basically when you got selected to do the tour of the manor, you would meet at this location that Russ had told you to go to. You would sign the waiver on the spot, and then they would kidnap you and take you to the location of the tour.
And this is obviously bonkers for many reasons, but your mind can't difference between I signed up for this. The minute that you mentally enter a place of danger, that's all thrown out the window.
I think that is part of the point though of he's trying to create this psychologically unstable environment from the moment you literally put your signature on the waiver.
The part that I find weird too is it's so fucked up, but at the same time I'm but then the people signing up for this are looking to have that fucked up experience, so it's I don't know. I don't even know how I would really wrap my head around that in the first place.
I mean, you wouldn't. You would never sign up.
Yeah, well, I know I wouldn't. But even if I was somebody who was interested in that kind of stuff, even leave it. Say you have this experience and you're really passionate about this stuff. Do you leave an experience like that feeling like you got what you wanted though?
So in one of the documentaries I watched, it was like talking about like the why people do this. And it's interesting because a lot of them said like they had past trauma, like because like I said, a lot of the people doing this were like formerly in the military or something like that. So they had some sort of PTSD and they did this to prove to themselves that they could like make it through something, or that like things aren't as bad, you know, to like give them like a rush of adrenaline to be like, oh, I can make it through hard things, or like, oh, I have really bad anxiety, but if I do this, I'm proving to myself that like the situations in my head aren't as bad as like something that I could survive.
So turning a past traumatic event into a current traumatic event.
Yeah, basically.
Interesting. Huh.
So Ryan did return to be an actor at the haunt. He says most of the actors are people who have gone through the haunt themselves, which I found really interesting. Because I feel like, I don't know, there is something very psychologically interesting about that.
Yeah, it's kind of like I lived through the torment and overcame it, and now I've changed roles. It reminds me actually of this would have been, I know this is one you covered and it would have been a very long time ago, the Stanford prison experience. It kind of reminds me of that in the sense of if a prisoner woke up one day and was like, oh, it's over, I'm gonna do it again as a guard.
Yeah. Oh.
That's kind of the same feeling it gives me.
I can definitely see that connection. So in 2014, Russ attempted to move to Illinois and then later Arizona, but the backlash from the public prevented him from doing so. The original house in San Diego was shut down in 2015. Russ said, quote, "We are dismantling the manor because I lost my job of 13 years as a veterans advocate. It happens, downsizing happens to even me. I can't afford living in San Diego, so the goal is to get out of here, find a new location, sell this house, but we can't sell it with the haunt inside of it. We are moving. I'm not going to say exactly where because we don't know. We've had a lot of offers, but the place that I thought was going to work for me turned out to be the Footloose of the haunt world. If you've seen the movie Footloose and Small Town USA and how they don't allow you to dance or gather or anything else, this is what happened with this small town in Illinois. It's called McLeansboro, Illinois. They are the Footloose of the haunts world. According to Russ, the mayor of the town initially welcomed him, but then some 3,000 of townsfolk decided they didn't want an extreme haunt in their backyard, even if it was going to generate business. The town turned against McKamey Manor in part because Russ and company do too good of a job promoting it as extreme and making people believe that what goes on there is something to be scared of. Russ says, "This gives me a clean slate to do whatever I want and to do it at a much larger location. These 4 locations in San Diego are homes that we were dealing with, so when you're in a home, it's limited. You give me a 10,000 square foot building, and wow, watch out." Alas, the story doesn't end there, and of course, the haunt did reopen at a bigger location. Just to kind of like go over the logistics of this haunt for a moment. To sign up, you must first join Russ's closed Facebook group. To join the group, you must take a video of yourself explaining who you are and send it to Russ along with a photo of your driver's license. You must also answer a series of questions including, what is your biggest fear? What are your top 10 favorite horror movies? Are you just a fan or do you want to take a tour? And what makes you want to be a member of the McKamey Manor tour group? If you successfully join the Facebook group, you've completed step 1 of the vetting process. You must also speak with Russ personally before being accepted for a tour. Each tour is tailored to the individual participating, playing upon their biggest fears and phobias. And according to Russ, at this time, there was a waiting list of 27,000 people who wanted to do a tour of McKamey Manor. So to participate, guests had to sign a 40-page liability waiver that includes explicit details of how the attendee may be subjugated to various forms of physical, sexual, and psychological torture. A volunteer guide testified that the waivers signed by participants listed such possible risks as having teeth extracted, being tattooed, having fingernails removed. The list of requirements to go through with the experience is extensive, and not completing or fulfilling any of the requirements will stop participants from being allowed to participate. The requirements included things like completing a sports physical, getting a doctor's note saying you are physically and mentally sound, passing a background check, showing proof of medical insurance, passing a drug test day of, as well as being at least 18, with 18 to 20-year-olds requiring parental approval. Participants must also comply with rules including no running, touching props or actors, no using foul language or pushing. Participants also watch a 2-hour-long video that includes videos of past participants as well as are screened personally by Russ. If a participant does not meet his expectations and personal requirements, then they will not be allowed to continue on with the experience. In its early years, guests were not permitted to leave the experience without staff's permission. There was no safe word, and there was no stopping once it started.
Whoa. Like, I get the whole, like, crossing your I's and dotting your T's before the experience. But then being like, no, once you're locked in, you're locked in. They even, when you go in first, even like, if, I'm just going to say this. If you're going to the hospital for surgery, if you decide when you're laying on the table and they've got an IV and you pumping the drugs or whatever that you don't want to do it, they pull you out.
That's like one of the most controversial things about this place is because a lot of past participants were saying that other extreme haunts, that do like that tout a similar experience, maybe not to this level, but say that consent can be removed at any time. There's always a safe word. There's always like, if you don't want to continue, you don't have to. But that was kind of the thing that put Russ's McKamey Manor apart.
It's okay to want those things, but you also need to still have it out for people who have truly decided that they cannot be there anymore. Otherwise, you're not creating an experience at that point.
You're literally just torturing them.
Yeah. Fuck, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah. So during this time, the price of admission was 4 cans of dog food, or a bag of dog food, or funds for animal welfare. So Russ wasn't making any money directly on the experience, which is very interesting to me because
I've got so many things on this.
I mean, a lot of people allegedly, I'll say allegedly because this man likes to sue people, but allegedly a lot of people were like, this is just his kink. Like he's not doing this for money because he enjoys this. Yes.
And you want to know why I think that specifically above anything else?
What?
Because people who are doing things, and this is just like a little psychological bit, people who engage in behaviors that are very like, like, I don't need to be paid, like, just bring in a donation, stuff like this. There is always balance to that, especially with like how that pans out psychologically. So if you're somebody who is doing this stuff for kink, yeah, there's going to be a weird little thing where it's like, oh, well, it can't be that, or, oh, it's fine that I get pleasure out of this because look at the good I'm doing. Look at all these other things that I'm doing while still doing this. It's like, I saw a video the other day where this girl was talking about how she went to like a thrift store and there was some guy there where he had a lamp that she wanted to buy and she mentioned it. And he basically was like, oh yeah, you can have this lamp for $20 or you can have this lamp for free as long as I get pictures of your belly button. Like, it's stuff like that though, right? It's like, oh, you can't be mad that I want this for you and that I'm doing this because look at what's come out of it.
Yeah. Oh, I hate that so much. I hate
Yeah,
that
right?
so much.
Right? I don't, like you just said, this is not like a proven fact or anything. I am so willing to believe that that's the reason why, especially because he's not getting monetary gain out of it. That is one of the only things that people will sacrifice in place of monetary value, is if they are getting sexual satisfaction from the experience.
Yeah. So, McKamey Manor has attracted attention not only for its infamous scares, but also because Russ allegedly offered a cash prize of $20,000 for anyone who could complete this tour. And I say allegedly because there is a lot of reasons why people think that this money never existed. But I'll continue.
Well, the man gets paid in dog food. I am more than willing to believe there is no money.
Well, so Russ said that he would deduct $500 from the prize for every failed challenge or use of profanity. The tour lasts from 8 to 10 hours, but no guest has ever reached the end. Because Russ, you remember, there is no stopping. So Russ decides when it stops. So no one ever gets through to the end because he stops it.
You can't finish it if he's like, you've had enough.
Oh, you've gone too far. We have to stop it. And I'm like, that's such bullshit. Like, that's such bullshit. Because there have been people who have tried to, like, actually go through and finish it, and he's, like, literally stopped them and, like, nope, you're done.
You have yet to tell me something other than I feel like maybe here's 5 million pieces of paper to sign about you getting into this. That's the last sane thing you've said to me about this whole thing. Like,
yeah, it's nuts out here. So Nashville journalist Megan Selling questioned many of the Manor's claims. She said, here's the thing, there is no $20,000. No one has made it to the supposed Huntsville portion of the show. McKamey knows that he will break people after stringing them along. He can simply pull out what's needed to shut down the show when it's ready to end. So, like, I agree with her conclusion in this, that the money does not exist. Like, there's no way that it's real. But he's using it as, like, a flashy little bit of enticement.
He's putting treasure at the end of the tunnel. He's like, oh, so like you want to be a part of this because you're into horror shit? That's so cool. And guess what? There's a little extra too. He's literally just drawing people in. He's attracting people in, like a spider into its nest.
It is like a spider.
Spider.
So during the tour, employees of the manor may physically assault patrons, waterboard them, force them to eat or drink unknown substances, have them bound and gagged, and engage in other forms of physical and psychological torture. Participants may also be drugged during their experience. Russ has said that he uses hypnosis and mind control to make participants believe what he wants them to think about what is happening. Many of those close to him have also made allegations.
Wait, pause.
Yeah.
Pausing.
Do
Do we think that him saying that is him excusing some of the more fucked up things that they've done?
100%. Okay.
Cool.
Okay. This is a side tangent because there was no way to include everything in my notes, but I feel like he says that because he had said in so many other interviews that I read with him, oh, this is all a show. I'm just a very good showman. Like, nothing crazy is happening, but like, because he also posts videos, which we're going to get into in a minute. He films all of these haunts and posts them on like his YouTube and Facebooks. Yeah, but portions are missing.
Whoa.
Which is like a whole other thing.
Okay.
Yes. So he films all this stuff and he's like, oh yes, it's all a show. I control the narrative though to like make you think it's scarier than it is. Like, but like there's no real harm. Which I think that he only says that shit to, like, relieve himself of culpability in any of this.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if he's like, no, I use mind control and hypnosis to convince people it's worse than it is. I don't believe that for a fucking second. I just don't believe that. You think you're gonna be, if somebody's getting chased while their teeth are being ripped out and he's gonna watch swinging in front of their face? You think you're a chicken? No, no one's doing that. That is not a thing.
It's
unless
literally
he has some sort of access to like pure government, whatever the fuck it is that they have for like the controlling of people or what have you. That's not happening. That's called, hey, people here have gone through some really fucked up shit, but I don't want to hear that I'm responsible for it, so I'm going to say it was fake because I hypnotized them?
Yeah.
What?
You're crazy. It's not real. It's just an experience.
Oh, you thought that happened. You thought that exactly. You think that happened. Well, guess what? I'm in control of your thoughts. So whatever you think doesn't matter because it didn't actually happen. What?
Yeah. I know, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy. So many of those close to him have also made allegations and statements against his character. His ex-wife, Holly Shillito, once described him as a, quote, dangerous predator, while a child of a McKamey Manor actor stated that, quote, his dad enjoys torturing people. Which honestly doesn't surprise me.
Well, I would say that if this is the thing you get into and you don't get money, you get dog food for doing it. The whole aspect of they like to torture people. I feel like deep in my heart of hearts that I could have guessed that.
Yeah,
At least
listen,
one.
He has 4 dogs, so they are probably expensive to feed.
Touché.
Yeah, come on, Emily. You didn't think of that.
I know. I just need to catch up, I guess. Oh my god.
Yeah. So, Chris Smith saw Russ on the 2017 documentary Haunters, The Art of the Scare. They became friends after Chris got in touch, offering to help Russ with some graphic design work. They began speaking on the phone every day and formed a friendship. Chris said that Russ was, quote, a goof. I didn't really like to take him seriously. But in 2018, Chris, who had already gone through the manor once and survived, but didn't complete it because no one's completed it, you know. He didn't get the 20K either.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He decided to go through a second time, which was probably my guy's biggest mistake of all time. I'm just going to say it.
Okay. I have more teeth. I feel like we could get rid of them, maybe?
He's like, listen, I would have to pay a dentist to extract it, but you'll do it for free, so...
He's like, last time I had none of my fingers cut off. I know I had a couple of toes cut off, but I really feel like we could up it here. I feel like we could do more.
Let's make a match. Come on. So Chris said, he gave me threats of being buried alive. I got lowered into a well 10 feet in the ground. He was made to unlock padlocks via combination codes while water was filling in the well. Chris said, I told him I'm done for the night. I'm tired. But Russ persuaded him to do one more thing. Chris says he ended up being dragged in a metal trough behind a truck. Quote, Russ had told me, I'm always going to know when to stop. Don't worry about it. And while in the trough, Chris said, Russ started shoveling dirt on me over and over again. I started waving my hand while saying I quit. But Chris said Russ didn't immediately stop. That, in fact, he would continue a tour as long as he's having fun. Their friendship broke down after that. And actually, Chris was in a more recent Hulu documentary about this ordeal. And he was like, he said something along the lines of he thought he was going to be the first person to die in McKamey Manor. He was like, literally, when will it be enough for Russ? I think I might be the first person to die here.
You know, now that I think about it, maybe that is his, he decides when they're done. That whole caveat he's been telling people, oh, I'm curating an experience. I decide when they're done. Maybe it is literally to cover his butt on he gets off on the bringing people close to dying and then they live through the experience.
There's something going on there.
Because that's a very specific thing that immediately I'm like, okay, that specifically needs to be looked into further because that's real. The whole
it needs to be studied.
That specifically is super fucked up.
So Russ seemed to have a network of people like Chris willing to help him for nothing. But 2019 marked the beginning of a shift. There were growing concerns across social media about the manor, especially on Reddit. Debates cropped up as to whether Russ was running a red room. So you might remember this from my episode on Daisy's destruction. Basically, it's like live streaming. It's like live streaming like very graphic stuff for the dark web.
Yes.
An online petition titled Shut Down McKamey Manor received 192,000 and some signatures. And since then, there have been 8 petitions to do just that. Chris is very much a part of this global movement to get the manor shut down. Because obviously, I think he's come to terms with the fact that it's very fucked up what's happening there.
Fair enough. I mean, a near-death experience will change a person, I feel.
It might change your mind. I don't know.
You might have a new lease on life, a new perspective, I think.
Exactly. So reportedly the manor does screenings to find the weakest, most easily manipulated people to do the haunt. It's speculated that if Russ doesn't think that you're easily manipulated, you aren't allowed to go. Allegedly, and I want to say allegedly, one man was tortured so badly he passed out multiple times, and allegedly workers only stopped because they thought that they had killed him. So it seems like this might allegedly be something that's happening. Allegedly, a lot. Allegedly.
Yes.
There's also been allegations of sexual assault at the manor, that Russ allegedly hires people with violent histories and who might be sex offenders to work there for him.
Whoa! Okay, like
Allegedly.
I knew the sexual violence stuff because you brought that up earlier. That would be a very, very, very fucked up thing to be doing, to find people who are prone to sexual violence to be people who work at this attraction. Allegedly, if you were to do that, you would be
really
a
fucked
monster. Up. Yeah, like really. Oh my god, I can't even wrap my head around that. That is so crazy.
So he allegedly uses needles to inject people with drugs, forces them to ingest pills and questionable items to force hallucinations. Russ repeatedly says, quote, "It's all smoke and mirrors," but then it leaves people wondering why. People are leaving with fractured bones, mental trauma, and covered in bruises, accompanied by facial swelling. Which I feel like is a valid question. If it is all fake, why do real people have real injuries?
Yes, exactly.
That's a great question. I would love the answer.
Yeah, I would also like the answer, because that's kind of where you cross the boundary of experience into just straight up being tortured.
Yep. So now we're going to get into the videos. Which is a whole other like little side quest to this, because
cool.
So there's 2 sects of this. There is the live streaming portion, which he was doing to like kind of like, there was people who could be like kind of involved in at least part of the haunt, to my understanding, and like help decide like what he was going to do to people at certain times. And then there's like the like edited videos that he posted on, like, it was at first YouTube, but then I think his channel got taken down, so he started posting them to Facebook. But he kind of started documenting his life and posting it online in around 2009. He launched his YouTube channel, McKamey Manor Presents. By 2019, the things his participants had to endure were brandished across the internet as part of the deal of signing up. So basically, if you wanted to be a part of this haunt, it was going to be recorded. Like, that was not optional. So in one video, a man had his eyes duct taped and is seemingly covered in oil and a blood-like substance. An actor, quote unquote, is shaving his head and holding a hammer over his teeth, threatening to smash them. In another, the same man appears to have blood pouring from his mouth while he lays unconscious on the ground. Because they're edited, right? So they're not sequential necessarily, or like they are probably sequential, but like there's things missing.
Yeah. Okay.
Ugh, that's just so icky.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
No. So in an interview, Russ said, Quote, I probably wouldn't do the haunt if I wasn't able to film it because I want the world to see what we're doing. Which, again, is not entirely true because the videos Russ posts are about the tours are missing a lot. Russ has said this is because he doesn't want to give away all of his secrets and he wants people to come and be surprised. But a lot of people were wondering if the footage that's cut is for more nefarious reasons.
Well, I mean, like, is it both convenient for him to say that while also having that very legitimately be the reason why he's cutting the footage? Absolutely. Especially if he's doing something else with it.
Or is using it for, personal reasons, perhaps.
A personal spank bank or something?
Yeah, perhaps.
Perhaps.
We know nothing, but,
God.
it's just easy to make...
Allegedly, yeah.
come to conclusions.
Okay. Yeah.
So 19-year-old Gabriella Hardiman was one of those whose videos was posted on the YouTube page. She said, quote, I felt a little weird with the camera. She later said, having seen McKamey on TV, she figured that most of the controversial acts were part of the theater. She signed up via the Manor's official Facebook group and quickly received a call that, quote, there's a cancellation. You have to come tomorrow. This is the only chance. Which, by the way, seems to be a tactic that he used a lot despite saying there's 27,000 people on the waiting list. Most of the people who go through were like, oh yeah, there was a sudden cancellation. Like I applied yesterday and all of a sudden the next day I'm getting a call to do it.
Yeah, to me it's giving hungry for fresh meat, basically.
Well, I feel like it's also like, oh, well, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. There's all these people on the waiting list. So if you want to do it, you have to do it now.
Tactic, right? It's like when you go into a store and you're looking at something, if you're doing like a big purchase and then they call you the next day and they're like, it's just been decreased by this amount of dollars. If
there's
you don't
one left.
buy it today, yeah, there's one left. It feels like that, like a sales tactic.
So she decided to go, probably against better judgments. Sorry, Gabriella. Right. And she was chained inside a freezer box and had a tarantula put on her face and had a panic attack mid-experience. She says, quote, I remember being in a straitjacket, lying in water and having it poured over my face. Someone called the cops because we were outside screaming.
Well, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. The cops probably rolled up and were like, whoa, that's fucked up.
What the fuck is happening here? So in 2017, the Manor had so many problems in the community that the haunt ended up moving to Tennessee in 2017.
Ugh.
So Russ successfully relocated to Summertown, Tennessee, with a separate location open in Huntsville, Alabama that same year. So this is kind of what I was talking about with that $20,000 prize. So the Alabama location was meant to be like the second phase where he took participants that survived long enough at the Tennessee location. So but no one ever really made it there. So it was kind of bullshit where they're like, oh, you're not strong enough to move on to location 2.
Okay. So weird. Okay.
So Gabriella said, I posted a video against him in 2017. It was on YouTube for 2 days before I took it down because the hate I was getting from Russ and the community was so insane. It's why I waited so long to talk about it and why in every interview my voice is shaking because I'm scared how people are going to perceive it. Gabriella says that she felt shame about speaking out because she signed a waiver agreeing to take part, and she has said that basically she felt like because she consented to the experience that it was on her, and she felt like she couldn't complain about what happened because she willfully put herself there. But
there's also such an element of coercion and herd mentality going on with this where it's almost like a club. It's almost like he's built something where he's like, yeah, you get to be a part of this experience and then you're in a club. And it's just sorry. It's just
yeah, it's crazy.
Cannot.
Well, there was another interview with her too where the interviewer was like, well, you could have taken away consent at any time. You're legally allowed to take away consent even if you sign a waiver. Did you verbalize that? And she was like, no, I felt like I couldn't do that. I didn't even know that was an option for me.
Yeah, because you're being psychologically manipulated and coerced.
Yeah.
That is literally what's happening here.
So, McKamey Manor in Summertown has been the subject of many complaints in the Lawrence County, which, Lawrence County, good place.
So ironic.
So fun. So, County Commissioner Scott Franks described an incident where deputies were called to the property after a neighbor saw a woman dragged screaming from a van as part of the experience. Staged or not, this is simply something that none of us want anywhere near us, which is fair, you know?
Yeah, I see that.
You probably don't want that in your community.
No, I feel like no.
So District Attorney Brent Cooper said the program was legal because people subjected themselves to it voluntarily, though participants could withdraw their consent at any time according to Tennessee law. However, just because they legally could do so does not mean the participants actually felt like they could do so, as we were just saying.
Right, and how many people would know that they could do that like before doing this? Probably
Especially,
not that many, if any.
Yeah, especially when Russ is like so explicitly like, once you sign this, there's no going back. Like you can't stop it at any point.
Yeah, there's no safe word. We don't do that.
Yeah, so like he's literally telling you can't withdraw consent when like in reality you legally.
He's curating a non-consensual experience.
Yeah.
How are you gonna know that you have consent if that's what's being curated for you?
Ah!
Ridiculous.
So after a ton of backlash and public scrutiny, McKamey Manor was forced to implement a safe word, granting the guests to leave at any time they wished to do so. However, some past visitors have claimed being held captive long after they called out the agreed-upon safe phrase. According to participant Laura Hertz Brotherton, on a visit to the manor in 2016, she repeatedly used her safe word for several minutes before employees stopped torturing her. She was later treated at a hospital for extensive injuries.
If you are hospitalizing people, it is too fucking far. Also, I was going to say, I feel like that adding in the caveat of, oh, we have safe words now does literally nothing, because if it is so extreme, like, what's to stop them from, like, I don't know, duct taping your mouth shut so that you can't say the safe word?
That's the thing, is like, you can't have, like, I was listening in one of the documentaries that I watched, they brought on like a legal expert being like, part of like consent is making sure that you are able to withdraw it at any time. So if you're being gagged or duct taped or whatever with your mouth like closed, you can no longer give consent because you can't withdraw it.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay.
These people, they drive me crazy. So deputies have been called to the property several times in the past, with criminal investigator for the 22nd Judicial District Attorney's Office reviewing Russ in March 2018. At the time, no criminal action directly related to the practices of the manor had ever been taken against Russ. The controversy led to investigation by Tennessee Attorney General Jonathan Scarametti and several subsequent lawsuits. On October 31st, 2023, Jonathan notified McKamey Manor that it was under investigation over concerns about its business practices and whether they might violate the state's consumer protection laws. Specific concerns include the allegations that withdrawn consent is not honored, a lack of access to the waiver, and the inability for contestants to win the purported prize money. A tweet was made stating that a letter was sent raising these concerns about Russia's business practices. In response, the official McKamey Manor account simply responded, "Haters gonna hate." So he like literally does not give a fuck.
That is the biggest I don't give a fuck I've ever heard in my life.
Literally. So a few months after the investigation, Russ filed a 32-page lawsuit against the Tennessee Attorney General, claiming the request violated his First, Fourth, Fifth, and 14th Amendment rights. The lawsuit was ultimately dropped in August, yet Russ's attorneys have asked the court to reconsider. He's like, you put a lawsuit against me? Well, I'm going to sue you, state attorney, because I don't like you. And they're like, no.
Because fuck your life.
And they're like, no. And he's like, will you reconsider? No.
How about no? I counter offer no.
So, unrelated to the manor, and this is the update. This is the update of something that's happened recently that resurfaced this case in my mind.
Oh my god, I totally forgot that you had an update to this. Oh my god, okay.
So, unrelated to the manor, a personal altercation led to Russ's arrest at his Summertown home on July 19th, 2024. He was arrested for domestic violence and attempted murder and rape of an ex-girlfriend. So, an arrest affidavit alleged that Russ had raped and strangled her to the point where she lost consciousness.
Yikes. Okay.
So by September 23rd of 2024, all charges were dropped following a court hearing in Lawrence County. Russ's attorney, Davis Griffin, provided a statement after the decision and basically said that him and the district attorney spent 2 hours reviewing evidence before concluding that nothing in the case was prosecutable against Mr. McKamey. General Cooper met with Mr. McKamey's accuser in person and took her claims and response to our evidence into account before making this decision. I will say, and I'm not saying this in relation to Russ's case necessarily. I'm just saying this in general. Mm-hmm. It is so hard for women, or anyone that matter, to prove sexual violence. So the case being dismissed, to me, anyway, doesn't necessarily prove innocence or guilt.
No, and I will say, sorry, I know you're going to expound onto that, but considering the, we'll call it work history in conjunction with what happened there is just slightly too many consistencies and patterns of behavior that, to me, I would not be so quick to dismiss.
No. Yeah, and so basically what has come of this now is the original... Well, okay, there's a few things. So some previous participants were able to actually hack, and I couldn't find a spot to put this in my notes, but I need to tell you because it's too funny not to.
Okay.
So some past participants were basically, when the GoFundMe, or not the GoFundMe, the change.org petition happened for to shut down McKamey Manor, some people were going through and they ended up hacking very easily into Russ's email, and they found so much stuff regarding the fact that he was talking with a allegedly someone from the IRS, being like, no, my business is fake, it's not real, it doesn't exist, so I don't owe any money, and all this stuff. So he apparently allegedly owed a lot of back tax because he was allegedly trying to fraud the system. Business? Yeah. And the other emails they surfaced was allegedly an email from his son being like, Dad, I hate you. Which, if that's true, that is so fucking funny to me.
That... I understand that a lot of this stuff is alleged. If it does in any extreme capacity end up being false, I guess I'll eat my own words.
Yeah.
But just, taking everything into consideration and then fuck you, Dad, right at the end of it.
Love it.
That's just...
It's just karma.
Just a little sprinkle of something in there. I really like it.
Yeah, so basically after Russ got run out of town because everyone was kind of against him, he stopped bringing in actors, and now he only does the haunt as more of an obstacle course in his front yard. It's still extreme, basically torture, but it's only guided by him now. So it's just him and there's no other person there, and he still films this shit.
Literally, who would want to do that? Who?
I don't know.
Who would want to do that?
He has a very dedicated fan base, and I don't fully understand. They literally go and fight people online for him, and I personally don't understand it because I'm like, what?
So it's a club.
Yeah, it's a club.
It's a club of extremists. It's people being well, I'm into the shit and I lived through this shit and I love it. Ah! That's the only thing I can think of.
Or it's people who genuinely have not been through the haunt themselves, but just enjoy Russ's work.
I don't think I like that. People, that's icky.
Yeah.
That's a lot to unpack.
It's so much to unpack, dude. And there are so many like survivor stories, and it's just honestly, it's heartbreaking to hear them talk about like how, you know, a lot of them have similarities, and they're like, oh, well, like Russ made me feel special and he was filming this, and you know, he told me that I had fans and people were rooting for me, so like it made me more willing to, you know, perform for the camera and do things and like try and survive longer, and like it just watching them be broken down by this experience is nuts.
I'm just shocked that he hasn't faced further criminal charges, is just simply because of this.
Well,
Because I understand that he was operating this and like had like his paperwork, his ducks in order, what have you, hiring people and doing all these other things. I don't believe that there's not like some lines that he crossed that should result in further legal action. Like, honestly, I know that's probably why he moved states so frequently, but like,
I think there was one of the survivors, I think it was Gabriella actually, was talking in like the Hulu documentary, and she was saying like, I think there hasn't been legal action because a lot of the people who have participated, including myself, felt like they gave their consent. So like, what can we do, because we agreed to this, you know? And I think there is a shame that some of them might feel of like, I can't believe I did this willingly to myself.
Well, especially if like the whole, so clearly there's some sort of like subculture going on here between, like we talked about earlier, the coercive mentality, the club, the we'll call it like passionate niche interest, the adrenaline junkies. I feel like it all just makes itself into a very volatile situation.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who are genuinely victims, I can see there being so many like mental obstacles in even coming to terms with what even happened in the first place and what you can even do as a person in this situation.
And I think like part of Russ's, I can speculate that Russ, like, he has said that he personally screened all these people before allowing them to do the haunt. I feel like there must have been some criteria that he was looking for within people's personalities, because I think certain people are more susceptible to being psychologically manipulated and victimized. And I think certain people, you can tell, are way less likely to do something about it than others.
No, I understand what you're saying. It's very much a profiling thing, and a normal sane person would not be going around profiling the people around them into the ways that they can be manipulated and taken advantage of. However, people who are predators and people who are narcissists and people who are other, you know, we'll just say of a darker sort of psyche and are interested in or have those darker interests, are people who think that way, and they are people who seek other people out based on these things. They may not be true what these people think when they're selecting people, but it is a part of the process of them finding their ideal person, whatever that means to them.
Yeah. And the last two things I'll leave you with, because I can't not share them after I know them. I have to transfer this information to your guys' ears. After basically he like stopped doing like the main haunt and like went on like his solo quest, he also started working at Walmart in the garden center. So people like would go and find him. Like there's so many TikToks of people going to the garden center and running into him in person.
Shut the fuck up. He's like, yeah.
He's just at the garden center.
I used to cut people and petunias, am I right?
Like I was like, what a weird side quest. And then the other thing I want to mention is that allegedly a lot of the like younger females that went through this haunt, he ended up dating.
See, there was something when you were talking about, especially like the age of Gabriella earlier and some other things, I was like, there's a sense of a stink on here, and I was wondering if you were going to talk about that, because I do feel like if we're talking, say, like predator mindsets, it does frequently overlap with predatory sexual behavior as well. So,
I mean,
as much as I am not surprised, I am still mad about it.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is very good at keeping his personal life to himself, honestly, which is kind of shocking in like today's day and age. But yeah, there's a lot of things about how he was dating certain younger females and how allegedly part of the deal was like one person had said that he told them basically like he likes to do more domineering things and that they just need to be willing to consent to whatever he wants to do, kind of as like a blanket consent allegedly. And that rubs me the very wrong way.
That says to me, I want to be dominating in the way of what's the right word I'm searching for here? I want your full permission to be the biggest dickhead I can possibly be and to basically pin it on being, well, I'm just dominant.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. It's because I'm dominant. You just gotta make up. It's like a... I'm trying to think of... Like, I feel like we've touched in the past on, like, certain BDSM style relationships and these types of things. I feel like this is, like, that in a trench coat. This is what people are worried that a relationship is going to be like in, like, kink culture type stuff.
Yeah.
And he's very
like
much
the horror
being, like,
story.
Yeah, and he's very much being like, he's pretending it's one thing when it's actually something else, which is, again, just furthering his weird perverted interests.
Yeah. I think it was actually Chris, like the graphic designer guy who worked for him. I'm pretty sure it was him who in the Hulu documentary said that he also made, I could be remembering this wrong, so don't just take this with a grain of salt and it's all alleged. Said that Russ allegedly made these women that he was dating go through the haunt multiple times as well. Like in like sequential order, so he'd be like, yeah, we're doing a haunt like every day this week.
Yeah, I mean, allegedly, if that's true, that just says more to me of I'm going to crush your spirit and I'm going to own you and you're going to let me do whatever I want to you.
Yep, I would agree with you.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But
I've got nothing else.
That's all I have. It was a little disorganized, but there was so much. Then there's like so many, and because so many people have done this, there's so many different testimonials and perspectives on this. It's kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. And it's also crazy to me that this guy is not in jail, and that this is still going on. That's the craziest
part for me.
Like what?
I really do feel this. If this had happened anywhere in Canada, this man would have been in jail forever ago.
He would have been gone. Done. With like Robert Pigton. End.
Yeah, like gone forever. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just the fact that it's gone on this long and there's so many things. I'm like, this is literally insane. Like, this is nuts. This is like Tiger King level bonkers, but like,
my God.
Significantly personally worse.
So much worse, honestly.
This is Tiger King if the tigers were people, like human beings.
Literally.
This is literally Tiger King if the tigers were people. Like, this is crazy.
Tiger King for humans.
Literally. Oh my God. I don't know. We really could talk about this forever, but we're already running up on our time here. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Jen, about your story or any more notes or anything?
That's all. Just meet this man at the garden center is all I want to say.
And then beat him up. But yeah, I didn't tell you to do that.
Don't. We do not condone violence on this podcast.
Not all the time.
Not all the time.
Well, I mean, if you like today's episode, or if you have a story of your own to share regarding this fucking weirdo attraction, you can email us at wheelofcrime@gmail.com. We also have our social media, which is on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok, all at Wheel of Crime. We have our website, which is www.wheelofcrime.com, if you want to check us out on there. We have our Patreon, which is Wheel of Crime at Patreon, if you want to donate to the show. If you'd like to leave us a review, you can listen or leave us a review on whatever app you're listening to. That would be excellentante. And then Last thing is, I think for the end of October here, we're going to be planning on doing a spooky, scary episode. So if you haven't had the opportunity yet, we have our listener story form up on all of our social media now year-round. Go on there, shoot us a story, and your submission may get featured in the next listener episode.
Yes, and that's it. That's all. We'll see you next week for another new spooky episode. Okay, bye.